Okay, we are live. Welcome, Windmill, who is here on a voice call. And
Hello.
actually, maybe I want to share my screen. Oh, that's annoying. Um, hi, Windmill. Welcome. Do you want to say anything about yourself on the stream, just to orient things?
I'm an amateur programmer. Everything that I have learned is completely self-taught. Like yourself, I stream a bit, and I streamed learning programming, Python in particular, every day for a month straight, and then I dropped it for about a year, and I've picked it up again in uh, in light of a project requiring my knowledge. And I need to learn a bit about Git and GitHub and proper version control uh, in order to succeed in this endeavor. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, the first thing I'll say a little bit about myself. Am I'm Eric or Eric Codes. I'm about to start a job as a data engineer. I've been doing streaming stuff for a while as a video game streamer, but more recently I've gotten into it for coding and coding education. So that's what we're doing on stream here right now. And I'll jump right into it and talk about Git. So the first thing I think about Git as being a giant undo button, and we'll get into that in a bit. Um, I have a Miro dashboard here that I want to get out of presentation mode somehow because I think I want to write commands. My favorite way to interact with Git is through the command line, which means text commands. Let's make that a little bigger. And Windmill, I wanted to share my screen in Discord so you could get it immediately. As it is, I recommend that you watch the Twitch stream because I'll have some visuals that I'll be developing as we go along.
Got it.
So let me know. I
I've
wonder.
got your stream open right now.
Okay, I don't know how bad the latency is, but it shouldn't be too bad. You should see Git and you should see commands.
Yes.
The first command I'm writing is Git Init. And what that does is creates a brand new repository. So I'm going to type mkdir for make directory, call it test repo. I'm going to cd into test repo. And if I do the ls command, it's empty. And Windmill, how bad is the latency on the videos
Oh,
feed?
next to no latency, so we're looking good.
Okay.
Quick question before we get much deeper. Um, do I also need to be like, am I following along with this? And if
Okay.
so, do I need to be in a this kind of a program?
Don't try to
Or
follow along for now. I'm going to move kind of quick as an overview.
okay,
And when I'm ready for you to follow along, I'll tell you so. Thank you for asking.
yeah,
So I'm going to hit git init. Actually, no, I'm going to echo hello world to a file called hello.txt. So if I ls now, we see hello world. If I cat hello.txt, we see the hello world text. And now I can do git init. And it says initialized empty Git repository in users Eric Anderson. I guess I just exposed my last name. That's okay. Workspace 2022-0517 git lesson test repo .git. This .git is important because it tells us where the Git files are being hosted. So let's do ls-a, and we see there's dot, which stands for current directory, dot, which stands for up one directory, .git, which is our Git repository, and then just hello.txt. What I'd like to do is cd into .git and call ls. And there are a couple of, actually there's kind of a lot of stuff which might seem a little overwhelming at first, but I'm not going to go into those details right now, other than to say let's cat head and it says refs heads main. That's interesting. Let's look at let's cd into objects. There's info and there's path. What if I call tree? If I call tree, it shows us that objects is actually totally empty. There's just room, there's like an empty space. So when you initialize an empty Git repository, it's just that, it's empty. But in that Git repository, we can conceptually break things into 3 pieces. There's a working directory. That's where your files live. Files on your machine. So when I look at this here and I say ls and I see hello.txt, that's my working directory, just files on my machine. Staging area I'll get into in a moment. Local repository, that's the stuff in .git. And staging area works using Git Add, which is another command. And I'm going to say git add hello. Actually, before I even do that, one of my favorite Git commands is Git Status. It says we're on branch main. I'll talk about branches in a bit. No commits yet. I'll talk about commits in a bit. On tracked files, it recognizes there is a file called hello.txt, and Git is trying to be helpful because it says git add file to include in what will be committed. So let's do that. Let's git add hello.txt, and now show git status. On branch main, no commits yet, changes to be committed, new file hello.txt. And it says, I don't care about what it says right here. But the next command is git commit. We had files on our working machine. When I did git add, it kind of puts those files in a staging area where they're ready to be committed, but they haven't been committed yet. Now when I do git commit, and I'll do a command -m for message, first commit. It says main root commit. I'll ignore this code for now. First commit, 1 file changed with 1 insertion. That's the 1 line of text in hello.txt. And create mode hello.txt. Now this is where it gets kind of cool, because I'm going to go into cd.git, cd objects, call tree, and whoa, what just happened? We've got something called 3b, and inside of that something called 18, whatever. And I'm going too deep here, I know, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to less 3b/18, all that, and it's going to say maybe a binary file, see it anyway, yes. And it looks like complete garbage nonsense. But that's okay, because we don't need to read it. In fact, you don't ever need to go into the .git folder. I'm just doing it to show you that there are things there, but you don't need to go into .git, and you definitely don't want to change anything in .git. You only want to use the git commands to interact with the contents of .git. So now, a copy of hello.txt exists in the local repository. And I recognize I've been talking for kind of a while, so do you have... How good do you feel about what I've said so far?
Well, I'm glad there's going to be a deeper dive shortly. Just going to put it that way. So just want to make sure that I understand the 3 sections. Clearly working directory files on your machines. That's easy enough to understand. The staging area. That is. So what is the purpose of the staging area you were saying?
The purpose of the staging area is, so imagine a system where you put files on your machine and you say, commit them to my repository, and they immediately get committed. That might seem convenient, but Git wants you to be extra sure that what you have in the repository is what you want in the repository. Because the idea is that once something is there, it stays there.
Mm-hmm. So it's like that it's like the whenever you go to do something and you get a "Are you sure you want to do this?" kind of option, except that it's a bit more. I guess you can have a greater amount of time between "Are you sure you want to do this?" and when you actually submit it.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking of it. In fact, if I go into vim hello.text and I add my name is Ericodes cat hello.text, we can see it just says hello world. My name is Ericodes. Now if I do git status, it says changes not staged for commit. So that means that this hello or my name is ... exists, but it only exists over here in the working area. It's not in the there's kind of like nothing in the staging area, and in this area it says hello world. In fact, it's more like in the working directory we have hello world, in the staging area we have nothing, and in the local repository we have hello world. If I then do git add, I still have the same stuff here, but now in the staging area I have this change. My name is ... but in the repository, we still have hello world.
Right.
Now, if I do git commit, we still have the same stuff in my working directory, but we have nothing in the staging directory anymore. And in the Git repository, we have hello world, my name is. Oops.
I got it. So it's I want to make sure I understand the function of it. So you've got, when you've got the items in the working directory, before it goes into the staging area, does it kind of look at what differences there are between a local repository and the working directory, and then move those changes specifically in the staging area? Or are you only pointing to the changes and saying, I want to move this?
That is a good question.
Staging area?
I think it looks at the difference between the local repository state and the working directory state and calculates the difference.
Gotcha.
And in fact, we'll come to, remind me to touch on git diff, because that's a powerful command. But I don't want to go there now. Right now I want to finish this git commit command.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do git commit -m add my name. Oh, oops, I made a mistake right there. So if you look at git status, it says on branch main state changes not staged for commit. I need to do git add hello.text. So now I look at git status and it says changes to be committed, and I say, okay, yes, I want to commit add my name. And now the repository is in the state down here. And in fact, all three of the areas look like this part here.
Gotcha.
But let's say I changed my mind and I don't want that anymore. Or let's say I want to look at things the way they used to be. So if I do cat hello.text, I get this one. Can I go back? How can I go back to the way things were in this commit or in this commit? That uses git checkout. Oops. How do I make this wider? And how do I make this arrow go away? before I do git checkout, I'm going to do git, actually, change my mind. Sorry, I'm moving kind of quick.
Sure.
Git checkout head tick. Head is the current pointer that points to something in the repository as this is where we are right now. If I git checkout head tick, that checks out one commit back. Oh. Okay, I did that wrong. I don't know what I did wrong, so I'm gonna do it a different way. Sorry about that. Git log. If we look at Git log, we see these commits, and again, I'll ignore what these crazy codes mean for now. But if I copy the first 6 or 7 characters of that, I can do git checkout that, and it gives this scary sounding message called detached head state, but let's ignore that for now. And instead, look at the contents of hello.txt. Now in the working directory, we're back to a state when it only had hello world. And I can get back to, I can check out main, which is the name of the main branch, and get hello world, my name is Eric Oates. Whew, I feel like that was a lot of information, and I think the best thing to do now is to get kind of hands-on.
Okay.
And we can come back to some of those deeper details later.
So with that said,
ask any questions you want to. Yeah.
Do I need to get that hello world file, that hello world.txt from your repository, and then work on that specific file so I can make any changes that I need to, like if I were to commit some changes to it? Or
you're saying, what if you wanted to make changes to this repository?
Yeah.
For that to happen, I would have to put this repository up on GitHub. And I think that's maybe actually worth showing, because I have a prepared repository, but let's do this one first.
Okay.
And you can see the process of creating a repository. So I go to GitHub and I say new repository, no template. I'll call it just test. I'm going to call it public so that you can see it. A test repository. I won't bother to add a git ignore or a license because I'll probably be deleting this. I need to select an owner. I'll do it. Oh, it already exists on this account? Okay, we'll do it on Eric Coates community then. Test doesn't exist yet. And I'll create repository. And I just realized I kind of made a mistake. I didn't want to include how am I going to do this? We're going to now that I've created this repository with a README, I have 2 sets of history, and I can't merge those sets of history easily. So what I'm going to do is just throw away the repo that I made on my computer, and I'm going to copy this. Or I could do that, but you know what? Since I messed up that plan anyway, let's use this repository that I prepared. And now I'm ready with code for you to follow along.
Okay.
Where's Miro? There it is. So git clone it really doesn't like some things about that. This is the command that you will need to run on your computer. Oh wait, no. Oh, I forgot. That's not right. What you need to do is fork this repository.
Okay. Do I need the link to get to it, or can I do that from
You
Bash,
you do need the link to get to it.
Okay.
So I can just Discord that to you.
Yeah. Also, while I'm getting that pulled up, looks like you got a question in chat.
Oh. What do you say? Can we pause and to answer a question?
Yeah, so absolutely. Do your thing.
Okay, Varix HC, thanks for stopping by. Yes, you are welcome to ask a question. It can be as beginnery as you want. Thanks for catching that. I was so focused to the left here that I didn't scan off to the right, which is where my Twitch chat lives right now.
No problem. And ask him any beginner question. This is my first time actually even diving into Git at all, which is why I'm here. I specifically was looking for help with Git.
Okay, let's have you. Looks like maybe Varix is forming their question. So I'm going to click fork, and looks like I have to call it hello world 1 because maybe I already have a hello world in my repository. But I create a fork, said it should take only a few seconds. There. So now, okay. Okay, Varix HC says, thank you, Mike. On Twitch, Varix HC says, thank you. My question is like, if GitHub repos are public and anyone can push his code to that GitHub repository, how do they make sure that nobody messes up the code if they have bad intents? So the difference is, and actually let's just create a new repository and I can show, I think it'll show me this. No template, owner EKND. This is my example repository. And it says public, anyone on the internet can see this repository. You choose who can commit. Commit means write. So anyone can see it, but that doesn't mean that just anybody can come in and make changes to it. And in fact, to prove that, Wendmill, I would like you to go to, and I'm not actually going to create this repository. Varix says, oh, okay, I never saw that part. Yeah, that's a important detail if you're asking questions about security, which matters on GitHub. GitHub definitely cares about security. Air codes, community.
It does seem very clear. I saw the different, like the options. I saw SSH, and what were the other ones? For
cloning it?
Data. Yeah.
Yeah, the owner of the repo chooses who commits. That's correct. And let me think about this. So, Wendmill, I would like you to try to make a change to like, I wish I had a dummy GitHub account that I could use for this. I'm not going to make a fake account right now on stream.
All right, so walk me through it.
Okay, so the proper way to do it is to fork first, and
I'm on my fork for.
You're on your fork. That's good.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and go to my personal fork, Hello World 1, and you go to code and either SSH or HTTPS or GitHub CLI. And If you haven't previously set up SSH, then I would recommend using the GitHub CLI.
I don't seem to have that option. I have the go to file, add file, but I don't have that code option there when I'm looking at my fork. Well, hold on. Let me go back. Never mind. I'm good. I was just, I was in the Hello World folder. That's why I didn't have
Yeah,
that.
you have limited options. Okay, Varric said, oh, thank you so much. And I thank the guy who drew your attention to my question. Wish you best in your journey. Thanks so much, Varric. And feel free to, keep asking questions as they come up. Okay, so where were we? Oh, yeah, you have to be in the main, like the home page of the repository to get all of the options.
So do you want me to be using SSH or would HTTPS be fine in this situation?
Actually, HTTPS would be fine. That might be the easiest one to use. So in that case, the command is going to be git clone. Whoa, what did I just do? Copy. Oh, okay. I see what happened. So git clone HTTPS and so on, and it's probably going to ask you for your username and password. If you want, if in the future you want to not have to ask for username and password, you can set up SSH, and GitHub has a good guide on how to do that.
So that would be my username and password into GitHub, right, as my user?
Yeah.
Okay. And this I'm typing into the, I guess, I've never actually used, I think it's called Bash, right?
It depends on what kind of machine you have, whether you have a Mac or a PC or a Linux.
PC. I downloaded Git on my computer.
Oh, and you probably downloaded Git Bash along with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I saw what you like whenever we first started, I saw what you were using. I was like, oh crap, I think that's something I might need. So I started using that, or I downloaded it.
Okay. Cool.
And whenever I'm doing git clone, am I cloning your fork or am I cloning my fork?
That's a good question. You are cloning your fork.
Okay.
Well, it depends on what page you have open.
I'm on mine.
So
right now.
yeah, if you look at this, if you look at the Twitch stream, if I'm on Ericcode's community /hello world, then the link it gives you would be for that link. But if you're on your own fork, then the link it gives you would be for that fork.
I see. Okay. It's refusing to paste. Can you not paste? Nope, there we go. Just Control V doesn't work.
Oh, interesting. That might be a security feature.
All right.
So I'm gonna.
It is done.
It is done. Excellent. I am also going to clone. My own fork, and I'm going to use SSH since I already have it set up, but it's going to have the same result. My directory name is Hello World 1. That difference isn't important right now. I'm going to cd into Hello World. And I don't know if that same command will work for you, but go ahead and try it.
It did.
Okay, and does ls work?
Yep. Well, okay, so actually my ls okay, so mine's a little bit different. Mine has code of conduct, contributing, license, readme, and then hello world.
Oh, type cd hello world one more time.
I'm in hello world, hello world.
There we go.
And now let me try ls. And there we go, it's hello md.md.
Okay. My knee-jerk is to use Vim, but it's probably going to be easier to use like a text editor. So what I would recommend now, do you have a text editor that you prefer?
I usually just go with good old Notepad.
Notepad should work. So using Notepad, try to open up hello.md.
I suppose that whenever I did git clone, it saved it somewhere.
It saved it somewhere, yeah. I wonder if you have access to that through the files. And if we can, you know what? Actually, let's use Nano. I bet Nano will be on there. And Nano is a little friendlier than Vim.
Haven't used Nano. Like, I messed around with Linux a couple years ago, and I haven't touched Nano since then. Let's see. So, is it just Nano? Okay, Nano hello MD.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Okay, you've got the file, and now you can type. I'm gonna type error code says hi. But you can type windmill says hi, or you can type whatever you want to type.
And okay, so I've got it typed out. So I'm looking at the commands down there at the bottom.
I think you can do Control O to write out. And it says file name to write. I think you have to hit enter to confirm.
Yeah.
Wrote 4 lines. Then Control.
I said wrote 5. Where'd that come from?
Oh, maybe you included a new line at the end.
Yeah, no. Okay, so if I just put my marker down there, it includes that extra line. That's interesting.
That is interesting, and I actually like having the new line at the bottom, even though I forgot to include it myself.
Does it leave it open for modification, like for easy modification or something?
You know what it does is the next person that comes along can edit that final new line without making any changes to your line, which is something I had never thought about before. Do you know what I mean?
I don't. So, in context, I don't quite understand it.
So
I understand the benefit in that in general, just not in context.
So let's say that we have line and then command new, line, and a new line. To the computer, this is actually line plus a new line. Like the difference between this and this.
I've started following you. I hate new lines. I hate new lines. Creating new lines whenever especially when you're writing in code.
So it's the difference is like if I wanted to add a new line, I have to hit return first and then my new line. But if there's a new line already there, I can just start typing.
And so, like for example, I'm in one of my programs. I wrote. I want to create a log file, and whenever I wanted to write a specific set of information, I have to do the /n to create the new line. If I don't do that, it continues to write it on the line before it.
Okay.
So that's ultimately like what it would do, right? So would it just so if you were to just try to append to the file, it would just begin at the last line, right?
Right. It would. Yeah, it'd be like that. I think I'm going to remember to create new lines from now on, now that I understand this reason.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get back to it. We wrote out 5 lines. Do Control X to exit. Now try Git Status and tell me what it says.
Wait, what did I do? Oh, I typo Git Status. Modified hello, no changes added to commit. Use git add and or git commit.
So let's do git add hello.md.
Okay, cool. So it did what it was expected. Nothing.
Yeah, and then git status.
All right. Yep. And it is changes to be committed. Modified hello.md.
Okay. Now git commit. You could say something cute like said hello, or you could do really kind of any message here.
So, hold on. So you're doing git commit -m and then said hello. So what's happening there? Because
Okay.
that's not what I put in the in the file, obviously. So whenever you're putting this information right here, what is it saying and where is it going?
Okay. Let me show another way, demonstrate a different way of doing this. If I just type git commit, it opens up my Vim text editor. And it says, please enter the commit message for your changes. Line starting with the hashtag will be ignored. And an empty message aborts the commit. On branch main, your branch is up to date with origin main. Changes to be committed, modified hello.md. So this is just a bunch of helpful text from Git telling you that there are some changes in that file. And your change was pretty simple. It was just one line, but it might have been 100 lines. And this gives you an opportunity to say, I made XYZ change, or imperative form, make XYZ changes. And I could now say save on this and it would do the commit, but I don't actually want to do that yet. So I'm going to save it as an empty message. And enter my made changes XYZ. Now, where does that go if I actually hit enter on that commit? I can go to Git Log, and the information I want you to focus on here is at the top where it says commit 8D99BA, which is head main, made changes XYZ. So this information, this is metadata that lives in the repository and only in the repository. It doesn't live in your working directory.
Would you be able to see these kind of comments if you're browsing on the web version of GitHub?
Yes, you would. In fact,
Okay.
I can go to there. That's what this update hello.md message is.
Oh. Okay, so you wouldn't want to put a super lengthy message in there necessarily.
Yeah, the style guide, and actually if I go and make another change, vim hello.md, error code says hi, append an exclamation point, git commit, git add hello.md, git commit, and make the following change, but be really verbose in the... Notice how Git grayed out this stuff.
Oh,
It's
so that's too long. It's too many characters.
yeah, it's hinting me, hey, that might be a little too long.
Gotcha.
So the way to get around that is the following change was made to the repository for the following reasons, blah 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 reasons. So now there's a lot. The main line is shorter, but there's room to say additional things.
Right, I see. So it's just that the length width wise becomes too much. You can still enter more information. Which I was wondering about. Like I can see why in terms of if you're trying to look at it, on the web version, why it would be a problem for something to be too long. But I was considering the inconvenience factor. With that means that you'd have to make your changes pretty minor, unless you wanted to, somehow have like a large paragraph of what your changes were. Because I find that, in my code, at least, in initially creating the code that I've been working on, I make a ton of changes all at once, not
little changes, little by little. That's an interesting question, and there can be room for varying opinions on how often one should commit, and how many changes there should be. One nice thing is that it is possible to rewrite your Git history. But that's getting a little advanced. I think I don't want to get into that tonight. I think I want to guide you through getting your change incorporated into the main repo.
Yeah.
So the way to do that is go ahead and type Git Log and take a look at the output.
Okay, so I went ahead and I committed. And so it says, okay, mine says told Eric hello was mine.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's good. And now what happens when you type Git Status?
Moment. What keyboard command are they referring to when they say return? Oh, never mind. Got it.
When they say return?
Oh, yeah, because it says I need to...
Oh, did you do Git Log?
Yeah. Now it won't let me get out of here.
Yeah, you have to type Q to get out of there.
Oh. And Git Status. There we go. Nothing to commit. Working tree clean.
Does it say anything about what branch you're on, or that you're ahead?
On branch main. Your branch is ahead of origin / main by 1 commit.
Okay, good.
Or use Git Push to publish your local commits.
And that's the right command. I'm going to add that to the list of commands here.
Which also, it looks like Git is using my computer as the contributor, not the user that I created. Which is interesting.
Oh, you mean your GitHub, not the GitHub user?
Yeah, not the GitHub user.
Well, that is interesting, and that's actually hints at a really important point. Git on your computer is not the same as GitHub, the website.
That is something very new I've learned just in this second.
Okay, that is an important difference. Git is a piece of software for version control. GitHub is a website that uses the Git software and also adds social features.
I was really hoping that so if I was using just the GitHub website, right? How would I use what you're using essentially to I guess commit and make changes and all that stuff?
If you were using just the GitHub website?
Yes.
The way to do that would be you would just go to, so I'm at my fork of Hello World. I can go to Hello World folder hello.md and I can click edit and add some exclamation points. And then commit changes. This is my commit message. And then there are 2 choices. There's commit directly to the main branch or create a new branch for this commit and start a pull request. We haven't talked about branches yet, but you could just commit directly to the main branch, which is fine for now. So that's how you would do it on the website.
Which doesn't give me cool hacker man vibes, so I'm not going to go that way.
Yeah, so I was actually going to go that way initially, and I forgot about that. Well,
that's okay. I like the hacker man vibes. That's what I'm going for.
That's what you're going for. That's much better.
Why go into programming at all if I'm not going to do that?
Yeah. So now you're ready to do the command git push. I'm going to go ahead and enter it and...
Actually, it is asking me to connect to GitHub. Okay, here we go.
Oh.
I guess whenever I go to push, it's going to have me do that.
Oh.
It's connecting through my browser, which is also pretty sick.
Okay, that's cool.
Git push, enumerating objects, done, done, done. And it's all done. It removed all the deltas.
Okay, so that means that if I go to your, well, the next thing you can do is let's just I have a problem with my email settings. GitHub is actually too smart for me. I told it I don't want my main email to be public anymore. And it noticed that my public email was included in the commit message. And it blocked me from pushing my code changes up to GitHub because of that.
Oh,
Which is kind of cool.
like that.
But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to where am I? Here we go. I made those changes. I'm going to commit them directly to the main branch. This is my commit message. Okay. So now my fork and your fork are in a similar place.
Okay.
And what we can do is go to the main, so click on Hello World off of your public profile. And do you see here where it says contribute?
One sec. Okay, I'm supposed to be on mine, and yes, I do see contribute.
So click on contribute. And it should say this branch is one commit ahead of Errorcode's community : main. Open a pull request to contribute your changes upstream. Upstream,
Okay.
like your repo is kind of is downstream, and Errorcode's community version is upstream.
And I'm guessing that after I do this, you have to approve it, right?
That's correct.
So open pull request.
And it shows me a summary of what's going to change in the pull request. I'm going to go ahead and click create pull request. I have the option to leave a comment. I'll skip that for now. You can decide whether or not to allow edits by maintainers. I won't make any. I don't think I need to make any edits to your changes. Create pull request. Okay, so tell me when once you've gotten to this page. You'll know you're there when the URL says github.com/errorcodescommunity/hello world/pull/some number.
Yeah, I am there.
Okay. So now I can go to pull request and it says told Eric hello. And I bet if you look here, it'll say something like only people with write access have permission to merge pull requests.
I'm looking for where I might see that.
Look for this branch has no conflicts with the base branch.
Yes, I see that. Oh, yep, only those with the right access to this repository. Yep.
So that answers Verix's question from before is I can see what changes you made to the file and see it says windmill says hi and there's a new line. And interestingly, there wasn't a new line before. But I'm glad that there's a new line on this one. So now I can say looks good to me, comment. And if I wanted to, I could close the pull request. That would be me saying no to the request.
Okay.
But I'm going to merge the pull request, confirm merge.
And this is all it's updating real time on my
Yeah, isn't that cool?
side too. Yeah.
That's a really cool feature of GitHub. So now if I go to code hello world hello.md, Eric says hi, windmill says hi.
There it is. I knew it was gonna dox me eventually. I saw my own name at some point. I don't care about it really. But it's just, earlier it said Philip.
Oh, okay. There it is. I see it
Philip.
now.
It said it authored and then Philip committed. I was like, well, aren't they the same person? And then later on, when it said Windmill committed it, I was like, okay, well, I guess it fixed itself. Guess not. But either way, it's cool.
Yeah, it's a little tricky sometimes knowing what does and doesn't make it onto the record.
I think it's because that is my no, it's not even my computer name. I'm wondering where Git is getting my name. I don't remember.
Git probably well, you may have given it your name when you signed up for Git Bash, or it may have taken your name from your computer's configuration.
Which, it's spooky. 'Cause yeah, all I did was download it. I didn't sign up for a dang thing when I downloaded Git. That's funny.
That is
but it's
kind of
fine.
funny. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's out there in the world.
Yeah, so be it.
Okay. If you asked me to, I would take the whole VOD down, but I think this will be helpful for people.
No, I've doxed myself 1,000 times. It's okay.
So that's a windmill tour of Git.
Yeah.
And
I've learned a lot.
That's good. I think what we can do now is kind of a review where I wrote down commands that we're using. Are there any of these commands that are standing out as a mystery to you when you look at my screen or my stream?
What is the Git? And oh wait, that was for the first one. That was for whenever you created the directory, right? You did the mk direct.
Yeah. And if you want to, you can always create it on GitHub first, and Git, when you do new repository, that handles Git Init for you.
Gotcha. And then Git Add, I got that. Git Commit, I get that. Git Diff, what was that one? You told me to remind you.
Oh yeah, that one we didn't touch on, but I can do that now. Git Status, I'm ahead of origin. If I do Git Diff right now, it's blank. There's nothing there. But if I do vim hello.markdown and say some other entity says hi, and I do the git diff command, it shows the plus and it shows some context to what was there before. And now it says this got added.
And so what's also interesting is that this is. Oh wait, no, you're looking at your. Are you looking at your fork, or are you looking at the main?
I'm looking at a clone of my fork.
Okay, so that's why it doesn't have the changes that I made in there.
Yeah, what I could do is, I could try to do git pull. This actually won't work for reasons that I'll explain. But if I do get pull, oh, it did. Oh, it git pull. I'll just do -f for force. Git stash git pull -f. Merge conflict. Oh gosh. Okay, I see. Okay. That was kind of a mess, and I don't expect you to understand everything I just went through really quickly. But the important thing is I pulled down the changes. I can confirm that because if I do git pull, it's already up to date. So now my local repository matches the stuff on GitHub. But the question is, which stuff on GitHub? And to answer that, there's another command called git remote, and I can say -v. And it tells me that the origin is git at github.com ekand/helloworld1.git. So now my local repository is in sync with my fork online.
Gotcha.
That's if I go to github.com ekand hello world 1. This branch is one commit ahead, 2 commits behind error code's community main.
Wait, how is it 1 commit ahead and 2 commits behind?
That's a good question. Let's look at the 11 commits. When I merged your pull request, that counts as a commit.
Okay. But how is it? So okay. But I still don't understand how it's both ahead and behind.
Oh, it's ahead because so let's so this is the, how do I copy this? I'll copy it in all its glory. So this was the history. And this is the, how am I going to explain this? Yeah, I can do it this way. Copy the, oh, there we go. Copy the full SHA. SHA stands for this code. And this code is a way of uniquely identifying the repo. Okay. So here's Eric Code's community/hello world. Those are the codes that identify the commits. Now let's look at my repository and look at hello world. Let's look at the 10 commits. Here's a commit, and look, it's the same. Here's a commit, and look, it's not the same as either of these.
That's a change that you made that doesn't match any of the changes that were committed to the main.
So when it says it's 2 behind, that's this, actually. This is what it means for it to be 2 commits behind. Yeah, 2 commits behind and 1 commit ahead.
So I'm just okay. So with the 2 commits behind, that part makes sense because so there's 2 changes that happen to the main. Is the main part the branch, or the main branch? Is that what it's called, or what is it? The active repository? I don't know how to refer to it as.
We could refer to the branch, but that's actually not helpful.
Oh, okay.
Because just in this case, it happens to be not helpful. It's usually a helpful thing. It's because
so whenever it's not the fork, but it's the original, how do you refer to it at that point?
That's one way of referring to that is the upstream repository.
Upstream repository. Got it. Okay. So it's 2 behind the upstream repository and it's 1 ahead. Is it because it has a change that has not yet occurred on the upstream repository?
That's correct.
Okay, so even if... Okay. So it just means uncommitted changes to the upstream repository. Got it. So,
It means on-merged changes.
Unmerged. Okay.
Yeah, because this has been committed on ekand/hello world 1.
Right. On the fork, just not on the...
Not on the fork, but not on the upstream original repository.
Got it. I think I'm learning it's very important to understand the actual terms. I've been coasting through programming and all things technical without using the right words for things.
Yeah,
It's not
precision
helpful to
in the
not know
words.
right words.
Precision in the words does get you pretty far.
Yeah.
So now that we've discussed that, let's look at Hello World 1. It has a helpful button here called Fetch Upstream. I'm going to use that button. This branch is 2 commits behind the upstream and has conflicts that must be resolved. That's something that is a little tricky, but we can work through it. The reason it has conflicts, as you'll see when I open the pull request, can't automatically merge. Don't worry, you can still create the pull request. And this is saying from the head repository of errorcodes community/hello world main to ekand hello world 1 main, let's create a pull request. Want to fetch upstream, ? Create pull request. And now I have to resolve conflicts. And the problem is, look how your version has these changes and mine has these changes. And there's not, and it looks like we're out of luck, right? It looks like we've gotten to a difficult point. But actually there's a workaround. Which is I can git remote add upstream. And this is going to look like magic a little bit, and I don't think I'm not going to expect you to understand this right away, but first watch me go through it, and then I'll try to kind of explain what happened. Let me make sure I did that right. Git remote -v, git fetch upstream. So now I'm telling the computer to bring those changes from upstream to download them onto my computer. I'm going to do git stash so that, oh, there's no local changes to save. That's okay. Git reset hard upstream main. Now if I do git log, I have that merge pull request from webmill main, and I can push this to my fork. Except I can't, because it says updates were rejected because the tip of your current branch is behind its remote counterpoint. Integrate the remote changes, e.g. git pull before pushing again. I could do git pull, but that won't do what I want. So instead I'm going to do git push git push -- force. And that's a forced update of ekand/hello world 1. And now I'm up to date with errorcodes community hello world main. And everything's good.
Okay, so in that whole process, did you update your what you have, but also did that overwrite any of the changes that you made that conflicted?
Yes, it overwrote those changes.
Gotcha.
Luckily, those changes were only adding a few exclamation points, and I didn't care about those changes. If I had wanted to be more careful, I could have. There are a couple different ways I could have set aside my changes to use them later. But that was a complication I didn't want to get into, so I just threw out those changes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's I think that's probably usually the better way to go. I mean, in this case. So, if you wanted to be overly complicated, like as long as there aren't incredibly direct, conflicts, like characters are different in different sections or in the same spot. For example, can you merge the differences, like where it would have had the when Mill says hello, but also maintain the changes that you made within the same file?
I
Like
could have done that. The best way I know of to do that is to manually edit the file that was showing like the two versions on top of each other.
Uh-huh.
You just have to hand pick what it's going to be after the merge.
Gotcha. So it's a lot of manual work in that case if there's a ton of different changes.
Yeah, it's a lot of manual work in that case.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's kind of what I figured would end up having to happen anyway, but I didn't know how magic it was. Still pretty magic, honestly, but
It's pretty magic. It's even more magic once you start understanding the SHA and how it works internally.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to practice with this a lot with some personal projects or something before I start using it professionally, because it's complicated and I'm bound to screw something up. So
Yep.
probably best to screw it up on a personal project.
Probably best, yeah. And also know that you can always just delete the folder on your computer and git clone a fresh copy.
Yeah. I just don't like the idea of committing something and then realizing, oh shoot, I just broke something. Uh, I see TikToks that talk about those horror stories where you commit and you really shouldn't have.
I wouldn't. Well, I mean, yeah, horror stories exist for a reason. What was it? Was it something that shouldn't have been committed, like something protected, like a password, or was it accidentally
I think
overwriting something that shouldn't have been deleted?
overwriting. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Gotta look out for that sometimes.
So one what we had earlier talked about the three different sections in the middle part. I forget what was that called
The
again?
staging area.
Um, so it seems like you can move or have multiple changes occurring all at once into different files, right? If you can put a whole bunch into the staging area and then commit all of it simultaneously, right?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay, because I was thinking about situations where uh, in order for one change to work, all three changes would have to be made. For example, if there were three changes
Yep.
to it, so
Not
maybe
only does
would
that
be
exist sometimes, but I have an example of it on an open source project I've been working on. Let me find it. com/YK Dojo friendly reminder bot. So let's look at the code in its current state. There are reminders.txt. Oh, did mine get merged? Score.
yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So if you look at, yeah, here we go. This is the commit that got used.
Oh, Python.
So it was just a flat list of hey human, do this, do that.
Mhm.
But now it's health reminders, relaxation reminders, positivity reminders, etc.
Gotcha.
And oh, and main.py had to change because before it was just select a random line. Was it printing out the dash before? I think maybe it was. But
Oh.
because we don't want it to print out health reminders. We want it to print out one of the reminders.
Right.
So it needed this extra line, which is lines equal line 1 for line in lines if line at position 0 equals dash. Which is a little like, there's a lot going on in there, so don't worry too much about understanding it. But the point is, not only did I change the reminders.txt, I changed the main.py so it could handle the new format.
Right. Which is ultimately better because not just in terms of it cleans the code when you change the list like that. Yeah.
Well, I had to add a line to the code. So it became more complicated. Like, let's look at it. Let's look at the parent commit and browse files. So now we're back. Now we've gone back in time, and we can see here's what reminders.txt used to look like, and here's what main.py used to look like. It's 8 lines long. But if we look at the current version of the repo, main.py is 9 lines long, and I forgot to do a new line at the end, so shame on me for that. I wonder if it had it in this version. It actually didn't.
So with the line.strip, and it's the strip, what is it stripping from? Well, hold on. I'm forgetting what strip does.
Well,
I thought strip was going to remove a specific character.
Let's play around with it. Oops, I don't want to go there. I want to go here. Let's clone this thing so we have it on a local machine. Temp, that'll do. Git clone that. cd friendly reminder bot ls conda activate base ipython run main.py and let's look at lines. Sorry, what was your question? I know I was going to answer it, but then I got wrapped up in what I was doing. What does strip do?
The line, the line.strip, yeah.
Okay, so this is line.
Been a minute since I've done .strip, it's just don't.
Oh, this is the current version. Okay, yeah. This is line, and notice how there's a space and a new line. But if we say line.strip, it strips away the white spaces on either side.
Got it. Okay. Oh my God, that's gonna be so helpful for my log file.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that. Alright, so this has been incredibly helpful. This is definitely, like, GitHub, it's still incredibly intimidating, but I'm less intimidated at this point.
That's good. If you want to learn the internals someday, I think it's O'Reilly had the book that I really liked. Yeah. Version control with Git 2nd edition. This is an excellent book. John Lowliger, Matthew McCullough. That's the book that I think had the most impact on me learning about Git.
But
that's it's pretty dense. It would take some work to understand it.
And that's actually kind of part, like, I struggle with reading. Like, I can read, like, obviously I know how to read, but reading, like, lengthy guides, books, just, it's just struggle for me, which is why I'm actually very, very thankful for this opportunity, because if I were to read a guide, because I don't know if you saw the
let's just imagine this. Imagine that, like, everything you learned in this session, imagine if I tried to write that down in a guide. Like, I don't think I could write that guide.
Right.
So feel free to ignore the book recommendation if you don't think it would help you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely worth a shot if I can find, like, a free PDF of it or something, because I'm not opposed to trying. It's experience, it turns that reading doesn't work well for me. The exception is though, like whenever I learned programming, I didn't like watch videos or do anything like that. I actually did. I think I told you. Yeah, I did. I used like it was like a website with practice for like sixth graders or something, learning
Oh,
beginning
okay.
Python, and it was
Hey,
great. But the
sounds
reason why I
useful.
was able to succeed with all this reading was I had the people on stream helping and collaborating with it, which made
Oh,
like it easier to focus and stuff. But like just reading by myself, can't focus. Couldn't tell you how to what anything in that book says.
that's funny. Well, that's a great thing about Twitch. I do wish we had had some more viewers on this one because I think there was some really good stuff we went over. But maybe
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
post it on YouTube. What like because that's more likely where it's gonna you're gonna find people are gonna find it later because
yep, the VOD is going to be on YouTube automatically.
oh sick cool
Yeah, that's
um
why I streamed it to YouTube. Is so partly that's partly why I streamed it to YouTube is just so I don't have to download. Like I'm not even bothering to record it to my machine. I'm just trusting YouTube to archive it for me.
no it's not bad at all but the I don't really have any more questions for right now. I think I'm kind of ready to just start tinkering more with it, um seeing what I can break.
Yeah, yeah. Try breaking something.
Yeah, that's usually whenever I learn. Except, okay, the exception to that is I did host a server. I was using Ubuntu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
I think so.
Um, and I ended up giving myself root access, which
Oh,
yeah, I screwed up everything and it was unusable.
oh no.
Um, so that is, was gaining dust for a while. It's gone now, but um, yeah. So that's usually I learn things by breaking them, just not in that case.
Yeah, you have to find those situations where it's okay to break things.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Like I spent like an entire weekend getting a game server running, and I put all this work into it, and then like 2 weeks later I break the whole dang thing, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it. So
A game server for what game?
yeah, so you ever heard of Shin Megami Tensei?
No.
Or so there was a MMO version of this game. Think Pokemon, but more like demons instead of Pokemon.
Hmm.
Uh, and
So pocket
they ended up,
demons instead of pocket monsters.
yeah, it was they had an MMO version of the game, and I loved it. The US version was pay to win, which I imagine it might have been like that in Japan too, but
Hmm.
or it might have been Korean. I don't recall, but either way, uh, there is a project that recreated the game based on the shut down MMO from like 2008,
Hmm.
and I hosted my own server of it
Oh, cool.
for like 2 weeks.
Until you broke it.
Yeah,
Uh,
which I mean, one day I might bring it back, but when there's other people hosting a perfectly viable server, I might as well use theirs.
that's understandable.
My entire technical learning experience has just been like, can I do it? Not because like I have necessarily a genuine interest in everything that I'm doing, but or learning technical things. Just I wonder if I can figure out how to do this and then doing it.
So it's outcomes focused.
Yeah, exactly. I like things. I decide that I want to do them, and then I do them. Or in the case of my work project, I see a problem. I want to fix the problem. I figured out how to fix the problem.
Uh huh. That's good. I think I at least partly enjoy learning just for the theoretical joy of understanding it.
Mhm.
But I also like, I mean, just for example, like my job as a data engineer doesn't require me to know how to build a Twitter bot. And I guess it's kind of relevant. Oh, I it's funny. I opened up the screen, but I forgot that I had switched over to webcam only there on my Twitch stream. But I'm just scanning the code. Like, does any of this help in my job? I don't know. Maybe it does. I learned things about
think so.
YAML and what does and doesn't make a valid YAML file.
I think, like, honestly, anything that you learn, and this is just, not even necessarily related to tech stuff, just new experiences provide, like, cause you to, look at things in a new light. I find that, like, I've worked in customer service for a long time, and I approached customer issues with computer logic, and that was my method of doing things where other people don't function in that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like that's just one way that I look at it. Just you can have completely varying experiences and use that experience instead of what other people are normally going through. Anyway, I'm rambling.
That's okay.
But so that your VOD doesn't end up being too long and have a bunch of irrelevant information, I'm gonna let you take control of your stream again.
I appreciate your concern for the VOD, and I don't know what I'm gonna do next on the stream, but I'll take like a 5-minute stream break and then maybe decide to get into something else. But
All right.
Thanks a bunch for being willing to do this, and I think this may not be the last time that you learn something on stream with me.
Yeah, I look forward to learning more from you. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Have a good
Later.
night.
You too.
Let's bring this. I got BRB DVD screensaver. Let's see if I can make it appear. Wish it was a little bigger, but there it is. Okay. This is me officially saying BRB. think I want more water before I get back on stream. Okay. Welcome back, stream viewers. I am now here. Turn off the DVD screensaver. Let's see if my next contestant let's see. Yeah, I'm You know what? Actually, I am going to, oops, DVD screensaver. I am going to run the DVD screensaver because I'm going to be, my attention will be away from the stream for a bit while I focus on asking someone if they want to come on the... Two viewers. I knew the BRB DVD logo was going to be a success. I think I'm going to call the stream. I don't have anything else planned, so turn off the... If anyone in chat wants to speak up and ask for help, now's your chance. I'll give you like a minute or two. And other than that, I'm going to cut the stream off for the night, or at least for now. Hey, Kay. You just tuned in? Well, then I'll have to do something. Any requests? I guess I can go through the contribution I made. Well, you were here for part of yesterday, Kay, so this will actually mean something to you. Let's go back to this other scene. So if you look at the code of Friendly Reminder Bot, you'll see that it's now in the format that I created. So let's look at closed pull requests, reorganize reminders.txt. And in your video today, you said it should be in YAML. Do you mean my video yesterday? I'm confused. But here's the... So for people who are just tuning in, let me talk about Friendly Reminder Bot. And Kay, go ahead and, if you can, try to reframe your question, and maybe I'll understand it better. Friendly Reminder Bot is a friendly reminder Twitter bot to keep you happy and healthy. Original idea is on Twitter. Here, if YK, aka CS Dojo, says, if I made a Twitter bot that tweets a reminder to stand up and stretch every hour, would you follow it? And under the issues, there was... YK had opened up an issue that says, as we have figure out a way to organize the reminders better. It says, as we have more and more reminders, it'd be nice to have a way to categorize them so they're easier to contribute to. Should they be maybe in a JSON or YAML file, for example? It could look like health reminders, : a dash, and so on. Let me zoom in on this a bit, make it nice and big. Oh, in the morning vlog today, you said it should have been in YAML. Okay, I forgot that I had said that. Thank you for clarifying. Well, it turns out, let's go look at the YAML specification. That's not the one I want. I want the one that I found yesterday, the official YAML. Here it is. So it turns out the one that I wrote was already in valid YAML format. I didn't realize I was writing YAML, but I was. So an example of, where is it? Here we go. No, that's not it. Here it is. Mapping of scalars to sequences. Notice how it says American : Boston Red Sox, Detroit Tigers, New York Yankees. So that, if you look at Friendly Reminder Bot, reminders.text, it's a string colon the dash and hey human, remember to drink water. So if you look at those two, you can see that they're basically the same thing. Hopefully these new lines here are allowed. But it loaded fine into Python, and in fact, to prove that, oops, I keep clicking in the wrong place. Clone. Let's exit here. cd dot dot. Git clone. Oh, I already cloned friendly reminder bot. Okay, K from YouTube says, and do you know, by any chance, what are the advantages of using a YAML file instead of a regular .text? So there's kind of two questions here. There's the file extension, and then there's the content of the file itself. And so one example. Okay, here's an example. Let's open VS Code and just take a look at this. Get started, close, welcome to OpenZ Editor. I don't need that. Reminders.text. So now if I'm in a text editor or an IDE like VS Code and I open reminders.text, it just looks like a plainly formatted text file. But if I create a new file called reminders.yml and I copy the content of .text, look how it color codes it. So that's an example of using .yaml is the color coding. Uh-oh. It gives you warnings about things like this. I wonder if that would cause a problem. I don't know. Well, let's find out if it causes a problem. Let's see. I want to cat main.py and see what's in it. Another example is another advantage of writing it in YAML. Again, there's two different things. There's does the contents of the file fit the YAML specification, and then there's does the file end in a .yml. Those are kind of two separate things. But let's see. Where was I? What should I talk about next? I need some help, Kay. I'm a little bit lost. But if we look at the issues conversation, so let's see. This was 14 hours ago, 11 hours ago. That was probably like 10 hours ago. Okay. So when I made the morning, why is using YAML more useful? Well, one thing you can do with YAML that you can't do with a .text is let's open up IPython and import YAML, and with open reminders, actually let's go into Visual Studio Code, save reminders.yaml, ls, here's reminders.yaml. So with open reminders.yml as f, YAML data equals YAML dot load f.read loader equals full loader. You have to say loader equals full loader for like security reasons, I think. Let's try that. Full loader is not defined. Shoot. Python YAML use full loader. I guess you have to do this stuff. Okay. With open such and such, YAML data equals load. Oops. Head at the end of the line. Oops. Loader equal loader. There we go. So now that was a lot of import pprint print.pprint YAML data. Now look how it's in a form that Python knows how to do stuff with it. Whereas if we just did with open reminders.text as f data equals f.read. If I try to pretty print that preprint data, it's a mess. Or if you look at it this way, it's a mess. So YAML is useful because computers know how to read YAML. Computers don't know how to read an arbitrary text file. Again, the steps were this is the one that worked, isn't it? With open reminders.yaml as f, YAML data equals load, f.read, loader equals full loader. No, we need loader equals loader. That's the one that worked. And then YAML data is this nicely formatted stuff. Well, it's again, it's better if you pretty print it. But you know, pretty print tried to print it nicer, but you can also do things like YAML data at the position social reminders. And now you can access that list. So K from YouTube says, so YAML turns basic data into lists readable by Python. That's correct. And if we look back to the YAML specification, YAML 1.2. Oh, this is cute. I just realized this whole website is a YAML file. What it is, YAML is a human-friendly data serialization language for all programming languages. YAML resources, YAML specifications, YAML 1.2, revision 1.2.2, October 1st, 2021. Pretty new. Let's look at the specification. YAML ain't markup language. YAML version 1.2. YAML is a trademark. Interesting. Revision 1.2.2 as of 2021, 10.01. Copyright presently by YAML language development team. Copyright, okay. This document may be freely copied provided it is not modified. Ooh. Status of this document. This is the YAML. Okay, this revision also strives to make, okay. Okay. Abstract. Let's skip to the abstract. YAML rhymes with camel, is a human-friendly, cross-language, Unicode-based data serialization language designed around the common native data types of dynamic programming languages. It is broadly useful for programming needs ranging from configuration files to internet messaging to object persistence to data auditing and visualization. Together with the Unicode standard for characters, this specification provides all the necessary information to understand YAML version 1.2 and to create programs that process YAML information. As a data science student, I often use pandas with Python, and YAML seems to be very similar. Are you saying YAML versus YML? Because YML is just a lazy way of writing YAML. Like .yaml. I mean, let's just ask, is it .yaml or .yaml? YAML files are created with YAML and YML file syntax. Both are the same in interpretation of syntax. Nowadays, there's no OWASP system-level enforcement to have 3 letters and extensions. Most of the YAML users are using .yaml as their preferred choice. Let's see. So where were we? I was trying to describe for possibly new viewers. This dark to light is getting to me. Okay, so we had this Twitter bot, and if we look at the way it was, I can go to closed pull requests, reorganize reminders.txt, look at the commit, look at the, where's the parent commit? Oh, maybe I have to go to code and then commit history. Here, we can go to this one, except I want to browse. Okay. Reminders.txt. Kay from YouTube says, no, pandas is another Python library often used for basic data science and allow Python to use certain data files. I'm sorry, I must have said something confusing. I wasn't trying to say that pandas is the same thing as YAML. I thought you were asking, is there a difference between YAML and YML? And the answer is no, there's no difference. .yml is just a shorter way to write .yaml. So it seems like either one you can use, and it doesn't really make a lot of difference which one you use. Are you saying that you're saying that the Python pandas library is similar to YAML? I mean, it's a way of storing structured data, so I guess it's kind of connected. But I think with YAML you have more flexibility. Like, let's look into the specification. Where is it? So things you can do with YAML. Language overview. Sequences of scalars Mapping scalars to sequences. This is something that might be familiar. Kay from YouTube says, yes, that's what I meant. Okay, cool. This might look familiar to someone who's used pandas. In fact, let's just do this. Import pandas as PD. It's taking a moment, but it'll get there. Now, y equal load I thought I have to do loader equal loader. Okay, so now we have y, and let's do df equals pd dot data frame of y. Oops, data frame. That's not going to work. Oh, that actually didn't work. But yes, did it work? Yeah, American. Well, it kind of worked. If depending on what you thought you wanted. But let's look at another example. I wonder if y equals load of 1, 2, 3, paste 1, 2, 3, comma loader equal loader. df equals pd dot data frame of y. Okay, so that works. I'm actually kind of surprised how well this is working. Let's try the sequences of strings example. And you know what? Let's write a function. Def load in of s, return load s comma loader equal loader k. df equals pd dot data frame of load in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hey, that one works too. Let's try this next one. Mapping of mappings. This is where I think it might get tricky, and we might get an error. S YAML string equals this. YAML data equals load in of YAML string. So that works. But what if we do pd dot data frame of YAML data? Huh. That also works. I keep thinking we're going to get to something that doesn't work, and they keep working. Let's try this next one. Oh, isn't that interesting? Compose error, expected to find a single document in the stream, but found another document in Unicode string. Interesting, interesting. That wasn't where I expected to get that error, but that's cool. Okay. Let me know, okay, if you have any other questions about that. Meanwhile, I'm going to go get back to friendly reminder bot. So this was the state of the repo. Well, as of maybe 2 days ago. It's hey human, remember to drink water. It's just a flat list of these files. And 3 days ago, YK Dojo commented, as we have more and more reminders, it'd be nice to have a way to categorize them better so they're easier to communicate to. So they're easier to contribute to. Let me make this a little bigger for myself. Should they be maybe in a JSON or YAML file, for example? It could look like, and then we have this example. Then Avram Electronics commented yesterday, ID 1, quote reminder 1, category 123. YK Dojo comments, at Avram Electronics. Rather than that, I think the top items should be categories, so it's easier for people to contribute. And then yesterday, I commented, that was just yesterday? That was May 16th. Okay, yeah, that was yesterday, and then this morning I did the vlog that Kay was talking about. Okay. I write, I agree that it will be easier to contribute if the top items are categories. I also think it would help if the reminders file is as human readable as possible. For example, do we need the quotes? How about this? And there's my example with health reminders, dash reminder 1, reminder 2, productivity reminders, dash reminder 3, reminder 4. It says, having no quotes would complicate the logic slightly in main.py, but it would make reminders.txt more pleasing to look at and work with. And then yesterday, what time? 8:59 p.m. Central Daylight Time, mentioned this issue in the pull request, reorganize reminders.txt, fixes issue number 27. Although I didn't automatically close this issue. Yeah, YK Dojo commented 14 hours ago, EKND, that looks great, and I love it. Does that format work in a YAML? 11 hours ago, I say, I will research the specification for YAML and get back to you. I think it might need indentation to fit YAML requirements. And then I say, oh, someone loved that. Neat. On further inspection, the format I suggested above is valid YAML. I tested it with import YAML, and it ended up making a Python object look like this, with open reminders.txt as f, categories equals YAML.load, f.read, YAML equal loader, loader equal YAML.fullLoader, pprint.pprint categories, and it looks like this. So in the middle of that conversation is the time that I opened this pull request, and 14 hours ago, YK Dojo commented, thank you, do you think we should put this in a YAML file? And I say 6 hours ago, well, it turns out that putting it into a YAML file would be as simple as replacing .text with .yaml, or is it .yml? Personally, I like keeping .text because that file type may seem friendlier to newer contributors, and the Python YAML parser doesn't mind loading that data loading data that came from a .text file. Although now that I think of it, putting a .yaml file could mean that contributors get syntax highlighting, which could be helpful. I'm not sure. Let me know if you'd like me to add a commit moving reminders.txt to reminders.yaml. .yaml sounds great. Thank you so much. But then he went ahead and merged the commit into main 2 hours ago. I wonder if I should delete the branch. So let's look at my changes though. The changes to main.py are simple. I just added a line to this is a list comprehension, which means make a list of this thing for each one of these things taken from this thing if the thing matches this condition. And so what am I doing here? I'm taking 1 to all, which means I'm skipping the 0th index character, taking just the 1th and forward. We're only taking those lines where it starts with a dash, which will become clear below. And yeah, we're taking it from the list of lines, which comes from open_reminders.txt. So that's the old lines that I took away. And what I added were health reminders, hey human, remember to drink water, relaxation reminders. And notice that the headers don't have a dash, only the reminders themselves have a dash. And that's why this filtering works. So that, hopefully, for my newer viewers, brings you up to speed on what I had been doing and what we were doing in this repo. Let's see, what next? I am going to stand up and take another, oh. Kay says, after watching you for the past few days, I've been inspired to join an open source project. Where do you think is the best to look for these types of projects? Well, Kay, I have just the thing for you. I created an open source project that is the simplest possible project that you can. Well, let me not make any bold claims. It's bold to say it's the simplest possible, but I will say it's a very simple one that you could contribute to if you want to. And the way to contribute to this repo is to go to that address, and let me now pull up, how am I going to do this? New window, bring it over here. Actually, wait, I can do this on this computer, would be better. Pardon, bear with me while I get the link to you in the chat. Live now. Okay, we don't want that. Okay. Interesting that it highlighted error codes. So, okay, what I would invite you to do is watch this flow that I go through here, and so you go to that link and it comes up and you'll see that there's a README. Let's say let's imagine that I'm some stranger on the internet who wants to contribute to this. There's also a file, hello world, where Eric says hi and Wendmill says hi. Wendmill is a person whom I met on Reddit, and I helped them learn about Git. And you missed most of that, Kay, because you just showed up later on in the stream. But anyway, if you want to contribute to this, you go to the link, you click fork, and it says, unfortunately, I can't show you how it looks to create a fork because I've already created one. So I'll just go to the one that I've created. And once you're there, you can go to hello.md and you can do edit this file, and you could type something like, oh wow, it automatically did that for me. You can do something like K says hi. We don't need that extra new line, we only need the one. And because this is your fork, you can commit them directly to the main branch. Commit changes. And now if you go back to the main one, you'll see this branch is one commit ahead of Aircode's community main. If you say contribute open pull request, it will head repository EKAND hello world 1 to Aircode's community hello world. Let's make this a little smaller so it's all there. Create pull request, and I'm not going to merge this one ever. I'm actually going to end up closing it. But you'll see it's there in the list of pull requests. And if I wanted to, because I have write access, I could click merge pull request and it would allow me to merge it. So that's that. What do you say, Kay? Would you like to try that yourself? I'll give you a moment to hopefully answer there. If you want something, if that's a little boring or like too easy or not where you want to go with your first one, there's a good website. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna check in Anyhow community. Or actually, I'm gonna go over here first. Here we go. We can go to firsttimersonly.com and let's make this large screen. Kay from YouTube says, I'll make sure to try this later tomorrow. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have the VOD available, or the VOD. Do I say VOD? I think I say VOD. I'll have the video available, and I'll even make a clip out of that section of it so that it's easy to find. I will post it somewhere. If you go to my About page, you can get to some other links about me. I think I'll post it on Twitter and maybe some other places. So first timers only. That's what I got when I searched first contributions open source. Let's read welcome. Let's do some open source. Let's read a little bit about what this website has to say. Contributing to open source for the first time can be scary and a little overwhelming. Perhaps you're a code newbie, or maybe you've been coding for a while but haven't found a project you felt comfortable contributing to. Kay says sure. Yep. You can do it. Here's how. If you've never contributed to an open source project before and you're just getting started, consider exploring these resources. First Contributions is a hand-on tutorial that walks you through contributions workflow on GitHub. When you complete the tutorial, you have made a contribution to the same project. Let's take a look at that. 41,000 commits. Wow. This looks interesting. The project aims to simplify and guide the way beginners make their first contribution. If you are looking to make your first contribution, follow the steps below. If you're not comfortable with command line, here are some tutorials using GUI tools. If you don't have Git on your machine, install it. Fork this repository. Clone this repository. Create a branch. Oh, so they have you create a branch. I haven't been doing that, but maybe that's a good idea. Make necessary changes and commit those changes. Now commit those changes using the git commit command. Push changes to GitHub. Git push origin, add your branch name. Submit your changes to review. If you go over to GitHub, you'll see a compare and pull request button. Click that button. Now submit the pull request. Soon I'll be merging all your changes in the master batch of this project. You'll get a notification email once the changes have been merged. Want to go from here? Congratulations, you have just completed the standard fork clone edit pull request workflow that you'll encounter often as a contributor. Celebrate your contribution and share it with your friends and followers by going to Web App. You could join our Slack team in case you need any help or have questions. Now let's get you started with contributing to other projects. We've compiled a list of projects with easy issues you can get started on. Check out the list of projects in the Web App. Additional material, tutorials using other tools. Maybe I'll go through this one right now. Might as well do it on stream. Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Unless anyone has any objections or other ideas, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I wonder how many maintainers they have. Oh, wow. That's a lot of... I don't know if I want to overwhelm them with like another commit. How far back do these go? Eesh. Branch conflicts. I was wondering if that was going to be an issue. Okay, I'm not going to try to do this because it looks like the project is having problems with... Please create a main branch. Improving the documentation. The existing README of the project has a clustered README file. Improving. Can you suggest a format for this at Ambuliashetty? Assign this issue to... I am using Markdown to write the file. You mentioned about... Huh. Pinned issues. FAQ, common errors on how to resolve them. The issue thread is to address common problems you might encounter while following the tutorial. If you don't find the problem you're facing in here, comment below. When trying to push, you get a 4.3 code. You can't compare to create pull request. Delete your fork and fork this repository again. There is a merge conflict. Can't push. Anyway, these 1.8k pull requests, I wonder if these are all... Well, this one has no conflicts. Kay says, hey man, I gotta go now, but as always, you are an incredibly inspiring person, and I look forward to seeing more of your content soon. Thank you, Kay. Very much appreciated. And I think that's a good place to stop for the tonight. So I'm gonna